The next thing we want to do is we want to cut a contour around our part so that because you remember we expanded the stock material so that it was larger, we offset it on the outside of the part. What we're going to do is we're going to remove that material, but we're going to leave a little bit at the bottom so that we can clamp on that with the vise when we make this feature of the part. So the next thing you want to do is go ahead and select on the Create Features toolbar. Go ahead and select the part profile option. We'll select that, and what this is going to do is it's going to help us make the chains for the contouring operation we want to make. So in Select Parts here, go ahead and select the solid model. CAD Body 1 it shows me here. I want to make sure that I do a shadow. I want to create chains on the profile, and that's good enough. So let's go ahead and click that. And you'll see here, if you've got your Features toolbar open, that it created several chains. We can see those if we rotate the part over. So if you hold Control down, click the middle mouse button, you can swivel the part around here. So I want to look at the bottom of the part now. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select chain 13. And you can see that it highlighted this chain over here. 14. 15 is the chain here that goes around the bottom boundary of the part, and so you may not have the same number in your instance of doing this if you've created some other chains, but for me 15 is the chain that I want, so I'm going to leave that one selected. I can go ahead and rotate this back to the orientation that makes sense for me, or I can go up here in the planes toolbar and I can select isometric, for example, to orient that. So I've got my chain 15 selected here. I want to create a contouring operation, so I'm going to go to my solid mill traditional toolbar, find the contouring operation and select that. Now Esprit will remember the last settings that were used on this computer. And so if you've previously created a contouring operation with this particular tool, then it's going to remember all those settings. But I'm just going to quickly go through. You're going to use the 3/8 inch end mill. That's part of our file here. You should select the appropriate feeds and speeds for this tool. For this example, I'm going to skip over that step. But you should select the appropriate feeds and speeds for that tool. On the Strategy tab, we can get some number of passes. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to make sure that stock automation is turned on to the trim item, and then I'm going to select some number of passes that's larger than I think we need. So I've picked 5 here. That should work. We're going to step over 38% of the diameter. We'll skip the finish pass for this. 0 stock allowance. Our incremental depth is 0.375, and that, if I remember correctly from the chart, is correct. Now the total depth, if we did 0 total depth, remember it measures the total depth from the chain that defines the feature. So 0 total depth would bring us all the way down to the bottom of this chain. Now if you remember correctly, we extended the stock material to be 0.25 inches below the bottom surface here. Which would leave us 1/4 inch to hold on to in the vise, and that's actually going to be good enough for this operation. So we're going to go to a total depth of 0. And remember, that's measured from the chain feature, not from the top of the stock material at the top of the part. We'll offset side computer left, and again, this is if you're sitting on that the arrow that defines the chain feature. If you offset on the left, in this case, the arrow points in such a way that that'll be on the outside of the part. It has this cutter compensation tab, and we're going to deal with that later in the lab. So for now, let's turn that off. Stock automation trim, cutter compensation off. Rough passes, some number larger than we think it takes. Advanced, we can leave these things. The links should be okay. I'm going to go ahead and say okay. And we'll zoom out and simulate this operation. And so first it does the facing, then it makes our holes and our pocket that goes through the part, and now we've removed the outside material, but we've left this little edge down here, and we leave that on purpose because we want to hold on to that when we're cutting this side of the part.